do that because I don't want this tutorial to take forever, but this looks very nice. Okay, one last thing that remains is how we can, export all of these guys. And obviously you don't want to do that one by one, and that's where batch exporting comes into play. For that, I would like to add another layer, an export layer above the current, so I'm just gonna bring up the layers menu by hitting Ctrl+Shift+L and then typing in export. It doesn't really matter if it fits above or below the current layer. I just like to keep it above. It's more convenient. Okay, then I'm just gonna add a square here. Oops, square, hold down Control to keep the sides equal, and then I'm just gonna lower the opacity so I can see to about 50, like so, and then resize it about the same size as your icons. That will do the trick. And now back the opacity to 100, and then we're gonna use the same tile clone to create 20 copies of the square, and then all we have to do is align the first one with the first pencil, and note that at this point you still have the original, so I'm just gonna delete that. So we have now 20 squares exactly, and align the last one, and then select all these guys and first bring them to the same level, and then in the distribution menu click this horizontally equal gaps between objects. Okay, so now everything is lined up, and the advantage of adding a new layer is now I can just simply hit Ctrl+A anytime I want to select all these squares. And first I'm gonna lower the opacity to 0, and now we can batch export. So I'm gonna go to Export Bitmap from the File menu and click Batch Export 20 selected objects. And if I hit Export now, as you can see, here are all my pencil icons in the same directory where I saved my my SVG file. And these are currently, if I double click it, you can see 68 times 68 pixels. You should know that in batch exporting mode it's always the same. The dimensions of the actual PNG file are the same as these vectors, or in our cases these squares here. So if I want to make, for example, a more standard number for my vector pencil icons, I can just click this log the proportions button right there, and let's say give it 128 pixels. Sorry, select all of these before you do that, so it scales the pencil icons as well, like so. And then deselect everything, select only the export layer, the squares, with Ctrl+A, and then again File, Export Bitmap, and Batch Export, and just export it. Now, as you can see, this is another very important thing about batch exporting, is that once you export something like that, for example these squares, they remember where they were exported, the name and the location as well. So now I overrided my previous pencils. So if you want to save those, for example, what I usually do is create another folder, call it, let's say, 128 times 128, 8, and then select these guys, cut, and paste them in there. And now if I for example wanna make another size, I can just simply again select them and type in, let's say, 64, and again deselect everything and select only the what just happened? Yeah, everything on the export layer. And you can obviously do this for the I will show you in a minute. So export bitmap, batch export, and here you go with your 64 times 64 pixels. And again you just create another directory. You want to keep them organized anyway, and just cut and paste, cut, paste. Basically that's how you can make a whole icon pack pretty quickly. Another thing to note is just more of an interesting thing, that for example if I'm gonna bring up the opacity so I can select them. So if I name this guy here, this square. By the way, you can select the fully opaque, fully transparent objects by hitting Tab and Shift Tab on your keyboard. Now if I were to export these, and let's say call it pencil1.png, I'm gonna export, doesn't matter where, and now select all the guys, all these squares again, and if I were to export again, or with the same dimensions as we did before, see, it remembers the name and it will always call that square pencil1. So if you have some time or wanna make it a bit more organized, you can first go in and export each one individually, and then for every size, you will have files named from pencil 1 to pencil 20, and then you can of course do the same for the for the pencil icons with reflection. Okay, and that's basically the tutorial. I realized I was rambling a bit, and my English really needs some serious improvement, but I hope I at least showed you a few tips, tricks or features you may not know about. And the icon pack will be probably available in a few days, if you want to use them for anything you want. You can download them from my blog, and see you in the next tutorial, which is probably gonna be a 3D tutorial in Blender. We're gonna be creating a sword, I think. So take care, bye.